What's up, sports fans? This is the Lucas Ross Sports Channel, and it's time to continue our 2023 college football predictions for the 2023 college football season. Up next are the Texas Tech Red Raiders, a team coming off a really good season last year, pretty decent season. They went 8-5 overall in 2022. This team was definitely a surprise team from last year, and I think this team has what it takes to be a top 25 team this year. My thoughts on this team heading into 2023 is that I think they're going to be really good. Defense is kind of what concerns me about this Texas Tech team, but the offense is absolutely loaded. They're pretty talented on that side of the football, so they should be pretty good on that side of the football. So, and you look at this schedule this year for this Texas Tech team, they'll play Wyoming on the road, Oregon, and Tarleton State out of the non-conference. So, not a tough non-conference schedule, but when you got Oregon in there out of the Pac-12, that makes the non-conference schedule a little bit tougher, but at least they don't have to play like any other Power 5 team on that schedule. Then you got, of course, the rest of the Big 12. I mean, they do got some tough road games this year with West Virginia, Baylor, BYU, Kansas, and Texas. So, yeah, they do got some tough road games. Well, let's go game by game now and give you an official prediction for this Texas Tech team. So, they start things off here with Wyoming on the road on September the 2nd. Pretty interesting game to kick off the year. Yes, it's a road game against Wyoming. I really don't expect Wyoming to be really that big of a problem for Texas Tech. I think they'll kind of, struggle to move the football, though, in this game because it is on the road, but I think at the end of the day, Texas Tech should take care of business in this one, and they should start out 1-0. So I got Texas Tech defeating Wyoming on the road there, and then it's Oregon up next here on September 9th. Big non-conference game here between these two teams. Did not expect Oregon and Texas Tech to go at it this year in 2023. Oregon's going to have really a talented team. They're going to have the offense to score points. Defensively, they're going to really be good on that side of the football as well. I think this is a shootout here in this one, but if you already see my Oregon prediction video a few weeks ago, I did predict Texas Tech to upset Oregon. I think it does happen this year. I mean, I do like Texas Tech here in a close one. I think it's going to come back and forth, but at the end of the day, Texas Tech has home field advantage in this one. Now, going back to my projections back then, I did have Oregon as the favorite heading into this game, but when I look at this game now, I feel like it's going to be a 50-50 game. That being said, I do like Texas Tech here in a close one over Oregon, and I got get them getting the win there over the Ducks, and I got Texas Tech starting out 3-0 before they beat Tarleton State as well on September 16th. So I got Texas Tech starting out 3-0. Then they'll play West Virginia here to open up Big 12 play on September the 23rd. This is going to be a pretty tough game here for Texas Tech. I mean, West Virginia is a team I don't expect to be all that good this year. But, you know, West Virginia is a tough place to play. Now, I don't expect West Virginia to probably make it to a bowl game, but there are some ways, you know, they can probably win some games. And I think both of these teams are pretty even, you know, in returning production. I think West Virginia is going to compete in this game because they are at home. Plus, Texas Tech probably hasn't gotten over the hype yet after beating Oregon. So I think they're going to go in here and probably not really focus on West Virginia. But that being said, it's a 50-50 game here between the Mountaineers and the Red Raiders. I'm going with West Virginia here in an upset over Texas Tech here on September 23rd. I know Texas Tech fans won't really like that pick, but I like West Virginia here in a close shootout-type ball game. Then they'll play Houston the next week here at home on September 30th. Both of these offenses are pretty even in this game. I think it's going to be a pretty big shootout here between these two teams. Obviously, Houston in their first year in the Big 12. That's the, difference here. Houston, though, is going to have a pretty good offense. Defensively is what I'm concerned about for both of these teams. Heading into this game, I think this is a shootout-type ball game, but end of the day, Texas Tech is at home in this one. With that being said, in a close shootout-type score, I'm going with Texas Tech here at home to defeat Houston on September 30th. Then they'll play Baylor on the road next year on October 7th. Another one of those shootout-type ball games here against the Bears. Baylor, I think, is going to be a pretty good team this year. I think they're definitely better than they were last year. This is plus a road game, so yeah, it will be a tough one here for Texas Tech, but I think both of these teams are pretty talented. I think it will be a shootout-type ball game. I think Texas Tech, is got the better offense in this one, but Baylor, I think their defense is what's going to win the game here for the Bears. With that being said, 50-50 game for me. I'm going with Baylor here to knock off Texas Tech. And I got Texas Tech now falling to 4-2. They play Kansas State next year on October the 14th next, the defending Big 12 champions. And if you saw my Kansas State video, I did predict Texas Tech to upset the Wildcats here. It's just one of those upset alert type games. If Kansas State was probably ranked in the top 10 by some of that point, but Texas Tech is at home in this one, and I think that's what's going to be the difference in this game. Home field advantage will play the difference, and obviously I think Texas Tech will be ready for this one after a loss to Baylor on the road. So with that being said, I'm going with Texas Tech here at home against Kansas State on October the 14th. That puts their record at 5-2. BYU on the road next year on October 21st. I think this game is kind of similar to the Houston game. It will be a shootout type ball game. However, it is on the road, so yeah, it will be a tough place to play for Texas Tech. And I think it's definitely one of those upset alert type games that Texas Tech was probably ranked in the top 20 somehow after coming off that big win against Kansas State. I think this is one of those trap games here for Texas Tech. With that being said, 50-50 game for me here between BYU and Texas Tech. I'm going with BYU here to knock off Texas Tech, and I got Texas Tech losing their third game of the season on the road at BYU. They get a bye week after that game. They get a bye week before playing TCU at home on November the 2nd. This game will be on a Thursday night, it looks like, so we got a Thursday night matchup here between Texas Tech and TCU in the Big 12. Obviously, TCU made the big jump last year. I think they're going to take a step back this year. Defensively is not what I'm concerned about for TCU. Offensively, though, is what I'm kind of concerned about for this TCU team. I think they're going to have a hard time moving the football against them, the defense of Texas Tech. And, you know, I think TCU's defense will keep offensively for Texas Tech a little bit short in scoring, but end of the day, though, it's a 50-50 game for me. Texas Tech, I think, wins it here in a close one over the Horned Frogs, and I got Texas Tech getting to a bowl game with that 6th win over TCU. Then it's Kansas on the road next year on November 11th. I did the Jayhawks prediction video yesterday. I already predicted Kansas to win this game. It's just one of those really tough games to call, man. Kansas has a lot of production coming back, and I kind of expect them to be really good this year. And I think this is the game where Jalen Daniels really has a really big game here. He's probably going to run all over that Texas Tech defense. Defensively, like I said, is what concerns me about Texas Tech this year, but I think this is definitely a shootout-type ball game, but Kansas, though, I think has the more returning production coming back, and they have the more experienced team. Texas Tech has the more talented team here, but the Jayhawks, I think, win in a close one here over Texas Tech and given their 4th loss of the season. UCF at home on November 18th. Pretty good UCF team. I think they're kind of similar to all the newcomers in the Big 12. This is definitely one of those shootout-type ball games. Obviously, Houston, I think it's going to be kind of similar to that one on September the 30th. It's a home game here for Texas Tech, though, which is the good news. With that being said, I think Texas Tech, with them being at home here after a loss to Kansas, they're hungry after that loss, and I think Texas Tech does win a close one here over UCF, and that proves their record as 7-4. Then it's Texas on the road to end things out here on a Friday on November 24th. The last time these two teams will meet in the Big 12 Conference. I hope this is kind of not the end of the rivalry here between Texas Tech and Texas, but this game is on the road. It's a tough place to play here for Texas Tech. Obviously, it's kind of a revenge game here for Texas. Last year, they played each other in the month of September, but this year they're playing in the last month of the college football season in the month of November. You know, I went back and forth on this game when I did Texas football prediction video, but I just think Texas is just way too talented. They're gonna be absolutely loaded on that offensive side of the football. Defensively, I think Texas is going to win this one, and I think that's what gives them the win here at the end of the day. So I'm going with Texas here to knock off Texas Tech here. So I got Texas Tech losing that one on the road at Texas. And I got them finishing 2023 with a record of 7-5 for the 2023 season. I think this is going to be a pretty good Texas Tech team, but they do have some tough road games on the schedule with West Virginia, Baylor, BYU, Kansas, and Texas. And all these teams don't have West Virginia doesn't have experience. Baylor might not have experience. BYU might not have experience, but Kansas and Texas, I could very well see this team going 8-4, though. 8-4 is possible. Maybe, 9-3, but I think worst case scenario for this team would probably be 6-6, maybe 5-7. If they did go 5-7, that would just be kind of disappointing, especially a team coming off an 8-5 season last year. But that's my official prediction for this Texas Tech team. It's 7-5 for 2023. Let me guys know what you think about this Texas Tech team down in the comments below. And stay tuned here for more sports content videos on the Lucas Ross Sports Channel.